Hi everyone, Eve Harow, Rejuvenation on the Land of Israel Network. It is, for me anyhow, late on Monday, May 20th. It's already the 13th day of ER, 5784. I am not in Israel. I am in Connecticut. Came here a few days ago. Been very interesting. Sorry about the sniffles. It's either allergies or cold. So we're hoping that it's allergies, but I do apologize in any case. A runny nose is a runny nose. But came here to visit a son of ours who's living here with his family. So that part is beautiful. The family part is always beautiful and not often enough. On Shabbat, we were invited to the lake house of cousins, one of the places in upstate New York where people go like for the weekend or for COVID or whatever it is, and kind of an impromptu, they asked me to speak on Shabbat. Probably in the end to about 30, 40 people. So I wasn't prepared, but you know when you speak from the heart, so somehow it comes out. And it was actually fun. My cousin, whose house we were staying at, so she said to me, what do I tell people you're going to do? Is it going to be a Dvar Torah, like a Torah lesson? Or is it going to be more like on Realpolitik? And I realized that it's both, that I can't give any kind of Torah lesson or history lesson on Judaism without also circling to today and putting in the context. That's just, there's like no separation for me. So I said, is it okay if it's this both? She said, whatever you want. And it worked out really well. Managed to tie in the Parsha, the weekly portion and more. There's the statement in there, L'macharat Shabbat, that Shavuot, the next festival that's coming up, is the day after Shabbat. That's not how Rabbinic Judaism interprets it. That you start counting 7 weeks till you get to Shavuot, which there's no date given for it in the Bible. So Rabbinic Judaism starts counting those 7 weeks after the first day of Passover. That's the Omer that people are still counting. And the Shomronim and the Karaites took it literally, because that's what they did with the Bible, take it literally. And so they start the day after Shabbat. And so Shavuot for them is always on a Sunday. So we kind of got into that and got into the fact that in the ancient world, on Passover, when you had to get rid of your chametz, which was literally things that are fermented, that's why the Karaites don't have wine and yogurt and vinegar on Passover. They don't have anything that's fermented because that's what all bread was. All bread was sourdough. So instead of, what we do now and sell our chametz, sell our leavened bread or crackers or whatever to a non-Jew, they actually threw their starter away, which explains why 7 weeks later they were so happy to bring 2 loaves of bread to the temple, because as anyone who makes sourdough bread knows, it's not so easy to get your starter back. And I worked in the weather, because warmer weather, which is what we're moving into now, it's this transitional period. Warmer weather also is better for dough, for anything like that. But I worked in the fact how the rain isn't good in Israel right now. There's a reason that we're started to say that the dew should come and not the rain, because the farmers are waiting for their wheat and barley to actually dry in the field, and the rain isn't good for them. There's a saying, Hazorim b'dim'a berina yiksoru. We say it in a lot of different prayers, meaning that, and it means those who sow, S-O-W, with tears will harvest with gladness. So in about the mid to end of last October, the people of Kibbutz Be'eri planted wheat. Everything was like, crazy stuff was going on, war, what was happening right after the holidays. And in a real act of showing that they're still alive and that they can't be stopped, and they took a terrible blow, of course, on Simchat Torah, they planted their wheat. So they definitely fulfilled the first part of that verse, Hazorim b'dim'a. Will they be reaping their harvest in joy? Probably too soon for that. But maybe there'll be some satisfaction. I don't know if outright joy, but at least satisfaction that because they're farmers and that they were able to farm. But so much of our holidays, so much of Judaism is caught up in the land and caught up in the weather and all of that. And I was just trying to explain that to them, and how you really feel it in a totally different way. On Sunday morning, we went on a boat ride on said lake, and at some point the engine, I don't know if he was flooring it or the engine started to whine. Whatever, it sounded like the sirens sound in Israel. So I jumped, and one of my cousins looked at me and said PTSD, except that there was no P involved. So, I mean, P in terms of post, not anything else. It's just, I definitely feel it, even though I know I'm not in Israel. When a jet flies overhead, I'm thinking, is it heading to Gaza? Is it heading to Lebanon? Is it heading towards us? It's very hard to shake that. And thoughts and prayers always with home. Memorial Day is coming up here in the United States. Somebody said to me, "Oh, you're here for the Memorial Day sales." And, we just had our Memorial Day. I spoke about that last week. So I'm going to ask all of you who are listening, wherever you are, your country, I would imagine, has some kind of Memorial Day. Don't just go to sales or go to barbecues or go to parades. Think about the people, assuming that you're living in a somewhat of a free society. Think about the people who, because of their sacrifice, gave you the freedom to go to that barbecue or have those sales and enjoy life. Because high prices are paid. We feel it in Israel because we're still paying it. So wherever you are, even if you're still not fighting for your independence, and you might be again soon, given what's happening. So just give a thought to those, even if it was a very long time ago, who made that possible. I can't say that I'm really upset about Ibrahim Raisi helicopter crashing into the mountainside. Quite the opposite. It's a terrible person. I cannot believe that the UN had a moment of silence and that countries who maybe I won't name sent condolences to Iran. Come on, is everybody totally out of their minds? Why would you be upset when someone who has killed thousands, if not tens of thousands of his own countrymen? I mean, he's the guy who's behind, what's happening with the women who dared uncover their hair and so many of the other abominations that have happened in Iran. It's okay to be happy when bad people die. And I know everybody's, or some people are saying it was the Mossad. In this particular case, I don't think it was. I mean, what do I know? That we have the ability to put mountains in fog in strategic places. But either way, act of God, the helicopter pilot crash, who knows? I don't know, and I don't care. The world is a better place because he is not in it anymore. And everybody needs to realize that there are lines between good and evil. I keep talking about that. There is a line there. And when something bad happens to a bad person, then it's good for the rest of us. Yes. And we should be happy. But things are definitely interesting. I'm going to be, remember a few months ago, I was on Sid and Friends, the drive, the 4-hour as you drive to work show on the East Coast of the United States. So he invited me to his studio here. I had guided them in Israel, him and his lovely family, Sid Rosenberg, and then I was on his show that he was broadcasting from Jerusalem. So he invited me to his studio while I'm here. So Thursday morning at 9:15 Eastern Time, I will be on. He's such a nice guy. And really, it's a lovely opportunity. And I'm also going to be speaking, if I'm ready to talk about me speaking, while I'm speaking, I'm going to be in Lido Beach, Long Island for Shabbat at the synagogue there. I think it's called the Lido Beach Synagogue, possibly also Long Beach Synagogue, which is not so far. So if you're in the area, I would really love to see you. There's also an event, but you have to sign up for it. But if you're interested, you can in the 5 towns next Tuesday night to talk about Enot Kedem, the ranch in the Jordan Valley. that I love so much, and the people there are doing such amazing things to raise awareness. And Nama Atidja, who's the rancheress. Can you say rancheress? Anyway, she's in town for the first time. She's in the United States. I'm going to be with her. We're going to talk about what's happening. I know that the world is very intent on making the Jews who live in Judea and Samaria into like the worst people ever, the moral equivalents of Hamas, along the lines of what the International Criminal Court is trying to do with my prime minister. So there's a warrant for him for war crimes, as well as disgusting Sinwar and other Hamas people. So did I mention something about the world going crazy and everything? Yeah, I think I said that already. Yeah, so that's just another example. But since we are here, we're going to be going in Manhattan to the Nova exhibition. I don't know if many of you know, but there's some people who took some of the things that were left at the Nova Festival, the tents and some of the personal effects that had not been claimed. If they hadn't been claimed, then you can make the assumption that their owners were either killed or taken hostage. And has an exhibit in the southern part of Manhattan, kind of recreating it to have people understand that it was a dance festival and people were attacked there. So while I technically don't need to go because I have been to the actual forest a few times, I think it's important to go. Also, I want to support the people who made the effort to put up the exhibition, but also thinking that at some point I'll be guiding in Israel, still my favorite thing to do, people who have seen it. And so I want to know what they've seen so that I can relate to that. So it's a busy week coming up. Hopefully I'll be able to explain a little bit find the words about what's happening at home. And hopefully, at least while I'm gone, everybody will stay safe and whole. And it's really crazy times. It's like every day something wild is happening. And I hope wherever you are, this is going to be a very short podcast. Because I'm babysitting and I have to get back to the kids. I won't be seeing them for a while, so I'm going to go up there. But I just wanted to check in with everyone and thank those of you who take the time to write and give feedback, how much I appreciate it. It really means a lot to know that you're out there, you're listening from your free will. And if you have thoughts on, what's happening wherever you live that you want to share, I would love to hear them. I read a lot and I get a lot. I'm on Telegram and on a lot of the news channels, the ones that don't give me high blood pressure. Although I do read Haaretz also because I want to know what the lies that are being fed to most of the world. Like David Grossman, the brilliant Israeli author, was on CNN. And he's a bereaved father. His son was killed in the Second Lebanon War, I believe. And he really is a brilliant writer, but he also has views that are still to the left, and which is why CNN put him on. And that's what they do. And, to make it sound like Israel's falling apart and everybody hates the prime minister and we're going down and we're not going to win this war, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's a little bit different than that. And so it's unfortunate that that's what a lot of people are saying, and that the journalists, someone in Israel, I don't know who it was who first tweeted out that the pilot of Raisi's helicopter was named Helicopter, and someone picked that up, and actually some news station actually put it out. Now in Israel, that's obviously a joke, helicopter, but it just shows you what their due diligence is like and how they investigate before they put out the reporting. I couldn't believe it. I shouldn't be laughing. I am laughing. It is funny. It's just ridiculous that what happened to honesty, not just in journalism, but in general. Anyway, always interesting to be here, meeting wonderful people who are really trying to do what they can. They know they're far away. They know they don't understand. Or some people think that they are feeling what the people in Israel are feeling. And you're not. So it's not the same. Just like, I don't know what it feels like to, I don't know what, a lot of things, hopefully a lot of things that I'll never know what it feels like. But I think we need to be able to say, to express empathy with people without necessarily saying, oh, I know exactly how you feel. Like one of my daughters who's nursing had a mastitis, had an infection, a breast infection, and people who will not be named, except they're both doctors, and one is my husband and one is one of my sons, were saying, oh yeah, like we know exactly what that's like. And I was like, no, you don't. You were never a nursing mother. Like she's, it hurts a lot. Put me on the phone because I know what that is because I had them also. So, we don't all have to, we have to understand the limits of to be empathic and to say, I feel your pain isn't the same as I understand exactly what you're going through. Like we have to respect the fact that people are going through things. Like there's things that I go through that I don't expect other people to understand. And that's fine, but it's nice to have it acknowledged. So, there's a difference there. Anyway, before I ramble, because it's been a very long day, I'll sign off with thanks to Ben and to Tabitha and to all of you. And I hope wherever you are safe and happy. And thanks for tuning in. And if you want to be in touch and maybe I can see you while I'm here this time or on a future trip, then please feel free. Take care, everybody. Eve Harow, Rejuvenation on the Land of Israel Network. Goodbye for now.